ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे सुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनस्य भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। भगवद गीता के इस प्रवचन में आप सभी का स्वागत है।
We welcome all of you to this class on Bhagavad Gita. We are studying second chapter, verse number 15.
पिछले पाठ में हमने देखा था
In the previous class, we studied that Bhagavan Shri Krishna instructed Arjun
जिस प्रकार
that
बाल्यावस्था से युवावस्था
just as the body goes from
प्राप्त होता है उसी प्रकार
childhood to adulthood to old age and then to death,
कुमार अवस्था यौन उसी प्रकार
in the same way,
शरीर को छोड़कर दूसरी देह को प्राप्त करता है।
after leaving this body, the Atma accepts another body. So the wise person, the dhira person, does not get bewildered by this change. To get bewildered, that is moha, to understand something as something else. So the wise person, the dhira person, is that who, in such situation, does not get bewildered. And then Bhagavan also gave example that our senses, they undergo different types of experiences and they are not stable. And this pain, pleasure keeps coming and going, and it should be tolerated. So the point is that in our experience we have two types of objects. One is that which is stable, permanent, which never transforms, and the other is which is temporary, which is subject to transformation. The person who understands these two types, in his chitta there is never any moha, no bewilderment. He transcends raga and dvesha.
सम दुख सुखम धीरम सौमृतत्वाय कल्पते.
So verse 15 translation: O best of men, the wise person who is not disturbed by these sense contacts, who is equally disposed in pleasure and pain, is certainly eligible for immortality. Arjun was worried about death, that all these people will die, then life will become miserable, and we also do not wish to continue living after having killed these people. So that is why Bhagavan speaks here that if you are not disturbed by this change, then you become eligible for immortality. In reality, we do not have to obtain immortality from anywhere because Atma is anyway immortal. But when we become bewildered, when we get the wrong knowledge, then we become subjected to lamentation and moha. To be equipoised in pain and pleasure, this is a great teaching of Gita. And if we can apply this teaching in our life, then we will remain satisfied. What happens in reality is that because of these upadhis, the designations, or because of our mental situation, we view we view the material objects in two ways or in many multiple ways. That is why these two words, sukha and dukkha, pleasure and pain, in both these words, the main syllable is kha. So if you attach su upsarga, su prefix before kha, it is sukha. If you attach dush before kha, it becomes dur and then dukkha. So same object we view in different way, and then we perceive sukha or dukkha, but it is ultimately kha only. Like nowadays we have a holographic picture. In if you see in one side you see Radha Krishna, if you see it from other side you see Sita Ram. So it is one only, but from which angle you are viewing it, that determines our way of perceiving it. So because of our mental situation, in the same object we experience pain as well as pleasure. The same object that gives us pain in the morning may give us pain in the evening, may pain or pleasure in the evening, and vice versa. What is giving us pleasure today, it can give us pain tomorrow. The person who is giving us pleasure today can give us pain tomorrow. So in reality, what has changed is our way of viewing, our vision. Objects are also transforming, but not so much as we think, because whatever we see here, it is all subject to change. But the biggest change that is happening is in our mental state. If our state of mind, if the mind remains stable, then the external change, it will not have that much impact on us. And this is what Bhagavan is trying to teach us, because we get very easily, very quickly influenced. or affected by external situations, by people, by material objects, by some accidents, by some circumstances. So we become agitated internally. So Bhagavan is telling, do not become agitated by this. Do not become vyathita. That is wise person, the dhira person who can remain equipoised, equally disposed in pleasure and pain. Like the way we breathe, so breathing is same breathing air only, but when it is entering the nostrils, then it has two things, left and right. And then there is a big science in this. There is Swar Yogi, Ida, the Chandra, this is Surya. And if you're breathing from this side, what is the effect? Ultimately it is same one thing only, but when it goes inside, we divide it into two. So we view every situation like this only. Any person, any situation outside, whatever it is, we generate duality in that through our mind, although that duality does not exist. And then what happens? We spend time in changing the external situation. So every person thinks that whatever sukha and dukkha, pleasure and pain I am getting, it is due to some external situation, some person, due to time, due to place, etc. But that is not the truth. This is what Bhagavan will tell in Gita again and again. And this is a matter of great deliberation. It appears very simple, very easy to understand, but actually there is a great confidential secret hidden in it. We have to deliberate on it. And this much is enough to change our life. Gita's verses are extremely wonderful because these are the words of Bhagavan. And for our pleasure, Bhagavan is speaking all this. Because this is what Bhagavan showed in his life. He underwent various types of situations. He appeared in the prison, and then he was taken to Gokul. There, Putana came to kill him, tried to poison him, but he remained stable in every situation. So Bhagavan is teaching this through his own life also, that one should not become agitated, one should remain equally disposed in pleasure and pain. Ordinary person remains busy in changing other people, changing the situations. He thinks that if this person works like this, or works like that, or behaves like this or that, then I will become happy. The father wants the son to obey him, the son wants the father to obey him. Husband wants that the wife should obey him, wife wants that husband should obey her. So people remain busy in this only. So we spend our whole life in trying to change others, although our duty is to change ourselves. Until and unless we change ourselves, whether or not the other person changes, but we will keep encountering such situations and we will keep struggling. First of all, it is impossible to change anybody else. You can never change anybody. If there is one person whom you can change in your life, that is you yourself. And if you cannot change yourself, how can you change the other person? One who cannot change himself or herself, how can that person change other person? One who cannot exercise self control, how can that person control somebody else? My own mind is inside my body, and I cannot control the mind which is inside my own body, and I am trying to control the mind which is in others body, because we operate through our mind only. But we always remain busy in thinking how to control, how to change the other person. We want that every person should work according to us. That is not possible only. So this is the formula for misery. This is the mantra for remaining miserable.
हम कैसे दुखी रहें कि ये व्यक्ति मेरे अनुसार काम करे, ये मेरी बात मान के चले.
So the formula is always thinking that the other person should behave or work according to me. So then misery is guaranteed. And if you always try to exercise self-control to control your mind, then you will always remain happy. So that's why Bhagavan is telling to remain equally disposed in pleasure and pain.
संस्कृत में माँ शब्द का अर्थ ज्ञान भी होता है. यानी कि दोनों में, सुख में और दुख में आपका ज्ञान बराबर रहे, एक जैसा रहे.
So the knowledge should remain stable, equal in pleasure as well as pain. That comes from the word sama. It has ma. So this is called dhira, one who remains stable. So mind has this veg, this force, this pushing. If we can control it and hold on to it, then we can become eligible for immortality. Because we are actually amrita. We are not subject to death. So the experience of pleasure and pain is on top of that. So when we realize ourselves, we just visualize this pain and pleasure. It does not mean that we do not work in this world. We do not deal with people in this world. Like if somebody is a manager in a company, then he has to get work done by others. I am not telling that you just leave everybody on their own. But what I'm telling is, do not become agitated or disturbed, because we will always experience this situation where other people will not work according to you. It is not possible that others work according to you always, whether it is your family members or friends or in your company, workplace. It is not possible because every person has his or her own senses, mind, etc. So, no matter how much you explain to that person cannot become exactly like you. That is not possible. So, if you maintain this awareness while working and getting your work from others, then you do not become agitated. Then you do not lose your peace. This is what Bhagavan is trying to explain here. This is the point that Bhagavan will try to explain in many different ways. In 12th chapter, he will explain that. So Bhagavan says that, see, this type of person is dear to me. Now, if you do not become agitated, then what is there for Bhagavan to be happy in that? But still Bhagavan becomes happy. If you do not become agitated, do not become disturbed, Bhagavan becomes happy. Later Bhagavan will tell this is yoga. Patanjali also explains this. Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. To do Nirodha of Chitta Vritti. Patanjali is telling simply to do Nirodha. Bhagavan is telling do not become agitated. There is difference in both. Patanjali is telling that you just stop the external activities. Close your eyes and sit. Bhagavan is not teaching that type of yoga because that is not practical for every person. How can a person simply remain sitting, closing eyes? So Bhagavan says remain active. In fact, he says that nobody can live without working. But while working, do not become totally immersed in that. Remain like a lotus leaf. Like if there is water on a lotus leaf, the lotus leaf does not become wet. The water just goes down. So you have to work like that in this world. Bhagavan is not teaching that do not work, or he is not propagating vairagya here. But what he is telling is that in whichever situation you are, be in that situation but remains stable. So if you want to achieve this stability, then we have to use our intelligence. buddhi. And regarding buddhi, Bhagavan speaks a lot in Gita.
कृपणा ही फल हेतु बुद्धिया युक्तया पार्थ कर्म बंधम प्रहास्यसि ददामि बुद्धि योगम तम येन मामपि अंते बुद्धि बुद्धिमतामस्मि। बहुत बार बुद्धि की बात करते हैं।
Many times Bhagavan speaks about buddhi.
प्रवचन है उनका।
This is a unique teaching that Bhagavan is giving. He is not simply telling the giving that type of teaching that speak the truth, don't speak false words. No, Bhagavan is giving that teaching which can create a revolution in our life. And that revolution happens through buddhi, through the intelligence. The buddhi, the intelligence that Bhagavan has given to us, this is a great mercy on us, because no other species has got this type of buddhi, the intelligence. Other species, they don't have hands like this what human body has. Although human body is of this world only, it is laukika, but if you compare to other species, it is as if like beyond this world, yes, if you compare with the other species. Other species cannot do like that what human body can do. So this buddhi, this intelligence is so wonderful that with this we can control our mind. So buddhi, intelligence is beyond the mind, and using that buddhi, if we use that buddhi, then we become qualified to be called a human being. If we do not use our buddhi, then we are not qualified to be called a human being. Like if somebody has a lot of wealth, but if he does not use the money at all, then he is as good as like very poor person. So the poor person doesn't have money, but the rich person has money and he still doesn't use it. So similarly, Bhagavan has given us buddhi, but we do not use it. So then we remain buddhu, means foolish. And if we use it, then we are intelligent. So that's why Bhagavan tells repeatedly that protect this, maintain this samatha, maintain this equilibrium of mind. So this is a unique teaching that is being given. So remaining equipoised, remaining balanced is yoga. Any work that you do, whether it is Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, everyone can become yogi. Just by performing karma also you can achieve siddhi, but it is only possible by using buddhi, using intelligence. If we do not use it, then nobody can help us. So people go to sadhus to get mercy, to get blessings, but the real blessing is to understand that Bhagavan has given me buddhi, given me intelligence, and I should use it. This is the actual mercy, because we ourselves have to work. Bhagavan gave instructions to Arjun, but it was Arjun who fought the battle. So our life is like a battlefield. I had explained that in the first chapter also. So Bhagavan is instructing us, he is giving us knowledge, but we have to work. So he is giving intelligence, but we have to use that intelligence. It is not that somebody keeps his hand on our head and we become siddha. These things don't happen actually. So that's why he is teaching that such a person is actually a Purusha. Purusha refers to, is being referred to here as Purusharshabha. Purusha is for Paramatma also, and he is Purushottama because he does not get agitated the way we get agitated by our senses or mind. So we can also become like that if we follow his teachings. That is why he is addressing Arjuna as Purusharshabha, the best of the Purushas, because Arjuna is actually like that. The other point is that what he said, Tam Stitikshasva Bharata, in the other verse, and here he is telling remain equally poised in pleasure and pain. do not become agitated, it also indirectly indicates that pleasure and pain will keep coming. Even if you are a perfect, you are a Siddha Purush, then also you will encounter pleasure and pain. Bhagavan also encountered various types of situations of pleasure and pain. So, unfavorable situations will always be there in our life. Situations will not be favorable always. And it is also not that we will not experience those situations. Becoming equipoised in situations does not mean that we do not feel, we do not experience that. So tolerating heat, tolerating summer does not mean that we don't feel it. Because if you don't feel only, then you are like matter. One who is living, one who is conscious will definitely experience, will definitely feel, but he will not become disturbed by that feeling, by that experience. This is the essence of his teaching. People say that he is such a great saint, why he became sick? Like this, people ask, he did so much of seva, he did so much of japa, why did he become sick? So it is not that sadhus, saints, siddha purushas, they do not experience pain, they do not experience disease. But the point is that they do not become agitated. We think that if we become Siddha, then there will be no pleasure and pain, no Sukh Dukha. But no, as long as we are living in this world, the laws of this world, laws of Prakriti will always function. They will always apply. But the thing is that we will not be agitated. It's not like that we keep changing our direction according to the direction of the wind. We remain stable. So, how to remain stable? From every situation, we should derive some benefit, both from favorable and unfavorable situations. But what happens is that when there is favorable situation, then we just go deep into enjoying mentality. And when there is pain, then we think that we do not want to be agitated, but we cannot avoid being agitated. It is not possible that you enjoy favorable situation and do not become agitated by unfavorable situation. If you enjoy favorable situation, you will always also have to suffer in unfavorable situation. People try to find solution to their diseases only when become they become diseased. They try to control their diet, etc. No, when we are in a normal situation, healthy situation, then also we should control our diet, follow a disciplined life. But what happens is when there is favorable situation, we become completely immersed in that, enjoying it. And then when there is unfavorable situation, we feel that no, we should remain unagitated from that. But that is not possible. We cannot avoid being agitated. So that's why when we have a favorable situation, we should not enjoy it. We should rather take benefit of that situation by remaining stable in that situation for some productive purpose. If you get lot of wealth, then utilize it. Not that I won, I became successful, so now let me party. So when that wealth will go away, then you will have to suffer. So that is why whenever there is unfavorable situation, we should contemplate how to utilize that situation so that we remain stable. If Bhagavan has given a particular situation in my life, it is I should utilize it intelligently to become more strong and keep walking towards reaching my goal. So we should utilize that unfavorable situation also. If you become diseased, you have to take medicine or doctor gives an injection. So then we feel pain with that, but you do not become agitated. It is not that you avoid taking that medicine or injection, because you take that because you know that it is for my benefit. So similarly, unfavorable situations should be accepted like a very bitter medicine so that our disease goes away. So what is that disease? The disease is actually the disease is becoming agitated, becoming disturbed. That is the real disease. So if we can get rid of this disease by drinking that bitter medicine, then we can become eligible for immortality. So whenever we have any situation in life, we can either increase our bondage or go towards liberation. If we get absorbed in raga and dvesha, in that situation we become more bound, or we can try to become liberated from that. Because whenever there is pleasure and pain, sukha dukha, we get a vritti in us. So in that vritti, if we have raga dvesh, attachment or aversion, then there is then a samskar gets created, and then that samskara generates more desire, and we become more and more bound. But in that same situation of happiness or suffering, we remain undisturbed. Neither we become attached to it nor we hate it. Then that situation will go away and it will not disturb us further. So these situations of pleasure and pain come in our life according to our prarabdha karma. Nobody can stop it. But what we do in that situation, so nobody is forcing us for that. The situation is forced upon us, but the response is not forced. We are not forced to be miserable in that situation. So situations will definitely be in our life, but how we respond in that situation, that is up to us. That is our purushartha. So our life moves on these two wheels of prarabdha and purushartha. So the situation comes according to prarabdha. We cannot do anything for that. But when that situation comes, how we remain stable in that situation, how we respond to that situation, that is up to us. There we have to use our intelligence. If we can remain stable in that situation by our intelligence, then we will become siddha. We will not have to go to Himalaya. And if we become immersed in that, then it will keep going on. We will do something, some self-destructive activity, or we will do something to harm others. So we have to always keep this intelligence awake. Mostly our intelligence, comes under control of our mind, and mind's nature is to always feel pleasure and pain. Anybody who has mind will definitely have experience of pleasure and pain, but that time we have to use our buddhi. We have to contemplate what we should do in that situation. Always there is situation of pleasure, pain, sometimes less, sometimes more. So in every situation we have to hold on to our intelligence. This is the yoga of balance that Bhagavan teaches in Gita. Like in 12th chapter, he says. So this is a very deep teaching that Bhagavan is giving. As long as we have thirst for happiness, till that time we will keep suffering. As long as we have thirst for material happiness, till that time we will keep enjoying our senses and we will keep suffering. This is what people keep doing. They do one work, they fail in that. Work means any activity that we want to enjoy. Then we keep changing that work, but we do not derive any lesson from that. So this is the lesson that we have to derive.
नोद्विजेत प्राप्य चाप्रियम स्थिर बुद्धि रसम मूढ़ ब्रह्मविद ब्रह्मणि स्थित। स्थिर रहना,
This is what we have to learn to remain stable, to maintain stability of intelligence. Later also he will say yogi means sthita pragya. Pragya means buddhi. Yogi means one whose intelligence is stable, doesn't become agitated. So these are the two types of vyatha. Like people say vyatha means suffering. Actually, vyatha is of two types. Sukha is also a disturbance. Dukkha is also a disturbance. Here, vyatha means disturbance. That's why he is using the plural, ete. This is in dual. It's coming from the previous verse. So there are two types of disturbances in our life, which are called vyatha. One is sukha and one is dukkha. Just like dukkha agitates the mind, similarly, sukha, happiness, also agitates the mind. This is what we have to understand. Until and unless we understand this, we will remain attached to sukha, to happiness. And until we are attached to happiness, we will also suffer. So these are twins. They are always joined together, like two sides of the same coin, like day and night. They are inseparable. They always come together. As long as you have attachment for happiness, misery will come to you as an uninvited guest. Happiness is the seed of misery. So if you sow seeds of thorns, how can you expect mango fruit? So one who is having attachment to happiness, he is sowing seeds, sowing the cactus plant. So he cannot expect mango fruit.
तो ये दुख का ये अपनी बुद्धि में इसको पक्का करना है.
So we have to fix this point in our intelligence that the seed of misery is attachment to happiness. I am not propagating that there should be no happiness. I am not telling that. The happiness is not the problem. Attachment to happiness is the problem, because everybody wants that. But the attachment to that happiness, that is the seed of suffering. The day you get rid of this attachment to happiness, all your misery will go away. Until you have attachment to this happiness, then you will keep suffering. That's why the prameyas that we studied in Nyaya, sukha is not counted in that. Dukha is counted. Dukha is to be understood, and whenever there is sukha, it is always mixed with dukha. There is nothing called pure sukha that we get in life. Why? Because Bhagavan is telling this world to be dukkhalayam, place of misery. So in a coal mine, you will get coal only. Alayam means the place. It's like a mine, and one have to dig the mine. Here you don't even have to dig the mine. It is already dug. Wherever you see, you will see suffering. So this is the situation. So that's why he is telling that these two, both Sukh and Dukkha, when they do not disturb a person, that person is eligible for immortality. And then beyond Sukha, there is Ananda also. So in Sanskrit, there is Sukha and Ananda. So before Kha, if you attach the prefix Su or Dush, you get Sukha and Dukkha. So beyond this, there is Ananda. That is Ananda. So that Ananda is achieved after going beyond this Sukha and Dukkha. After this, Bhagavan speaks a very philosophical verse, which is highly philosophical. Translation of verse 16, the unreal has no existence and the real never ceases to exist. The conclusion regarding these two principles has been directly apperceived by seers of the
तो
truth.
ये श्लोक समझने वाला है।
So this verse has to
तो
be
इसमें
understood
भगवान ने
properly,
तीन
because
शब्दों
in
का
this
प्रयोग
verse
किया है, एक
Bhagavan
सत,
has used three
एक
words.
भाव
One is Sat,
और एक
then
विधि।
Bhav,
तीन धातु हैं
and
संस्कृत में, एक
Vidhi.
असत धातु अस भुवि,
So there are these dhatus in
भू
Sanskrit, As,
सत्तायाम
Bhu
और
Sattayam,
विद धातु सत्तायाम,
and Vid Dhatu Sattayam.
तीनों का अर्थ एक ही है,
And all three have same meaning.
विद्यमान होना, अस्तित्व
To
होना,
exist.
सत्ता होना, तीनों में अंतर क्या है? लेकिन तीनों का प्रयोग यहाँ पर किया है। तो पहले तो कहते हैं कि ना असतो विद्यते।
So first of all, he is telling na asato vidyate bhav. So there are different explanations of this verse by acharyas. So they are telling that whatever is asat, its bhava is not there.
कि उसका अस्तित्व नहीं है,
That means its existence is not there.
सत का अस्तित्व हो नहीं सकता है,
So there cannot be existence of asat, of the unreal. And what is sat, what is real,
अस्तित्व कभी समाप्त नहीं होता,
it never ceases to
इसलिए
exist.
तो वो सत है।
That is why it is sat.
और ऐसा जो तत्वदर्शी पुरुष है,
And the Tattvadarshi person, one who is seer of the truth,
सत और असत
those people have decided this. So now what is Sat and what is Asat? There are different explanations of that.
कोई विप्रतिपत्ति नहीं है।
Regarding Sat,
कोई संशय, सत माने जो
there is no confusion.
हमेशा रहती है,
Sat means whose existence is always there, which is eternal,
इसलिए तो कहना उसका
which is never destroyed.
भाव नहीं होता है।
That is why it is told here that there is never an abhava, non-existence of Sat, of real. So like Atma, Bhagavan, Bhagavan's abode, Bhagavan's name, these are all Sat Vastu, real Vastu, meaning that they never undergo any transformation.
परिवर्तन नहीं होता है,
They are immutable.
सत बोलते हैं।
These are called Sat,
और दूसरी
real.
वस्तुएं हैं जैसे हमारा
And the
शरीर
other
प्रकृति से बने हुए हैं,
the other vastu is like our body, which is made of prakriti.
इसलिए वहाँ
It is mutable, it is subject to transformation.
सत का मतलब
So whatever is there, its existence keeps changing. Here asat does not mean that it is does not exist only, because if something does not exist only, you can't even talk about it.
होगी नहीं,
If something never existed, does not exist and will never exist, you even can't say that it does not exist actually, because whenever we say that something is not there, that means sometime it must have existed.
भाव का मतलब
So when here it is being told that nasato vidyate bhav, here it means that it keeps transforming.
उसको कहा कि ये असत है।
That is why it is told that this is asat, it is unreal.
वास्तव में दो ही तत्व हैं,
So in this world, actually, there are only two tattvas. There is Nitya tattva and Anitya, the permanent and temporary. One is Prakriti and one Purusha. Bhagavan is Purushottama. Purushottama is also Purusha only.
वास्तव में दो ही तत्व हैं,
So actually, there are two tattvas only. One is the conscious tattva, the Chetan, and one is the inert matter, Jada.
और जड़ तत्व को
So the Jada, the matter is called here Asat, and the conscious, that is called here Sat. Because the asat, the jada, it undergoes transformation. So whatever is made with prakriti, it keeps transforming. Like it was told earlier also regarding the body. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara. Similarly, our body, not only our body, every material object, it keeps undergoing transformations. The six transformations keep happening to material objects. First it is born, it stays for some time, then there is transformation, then it is destroyed, then gets destroyed. So like these material elements, these material objects, they keep undergoing these six transformations. In something it happens slowly, something it may happen fast. So why Bhagavan is telling this? Because when Arjun is telling that this Bhishma, Drona, they are my gurus, my relatives, So he is telling that those names which you are taking, they are names of the bodies, and the bodies are mutable. They will always keep transforming, whether you fight or do not fight. They are not stable. But you do not give up your own dharma. So Bhagavan will explain to Arjun from various angles, from the angle of dharma, from the angle of society, from the angle of niti, from various angles he will explain why he should perform his duty and not give it up. Whether it is fighting or whatever duty one has, one should never give it up. This is what Bhagavan is teaching. That is why he is telling that this body, it is asat. Asat does not mean that it does not exist. What it means is that its existence is not permanent. And Atma will always exist. So for whom are you lamenting? That's why he told that you are lamenting for that which is not worthy of lamentation. And then you are considering yourself to be a Pandit. So this type of explanation is given by the Vaishnavacharyas. Another point is that the body, it contains the Atma, both are Sat. Body also has existence and Atma also has existence, but their relation, that relation is Asat, that relation is unreal. This is the explanation of Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, very beautiful explanation that actually what is Asat, what is unreal? Unreal is the relation that we have accepted. So that's why Bhagavan is telling that actually this relation does not exist only because Atma actually does not have any relation with the body. So that is why this relation is unreal. Is Asat, it has no existence. It is just an imagination. Just like you consider somebody to be yours, somebody you accept him to be your friend, or you marry someone. So before marriage, you did not have any relation with that person. After that, the relation that you are considering, it is simply in your mind. In reality, outside, there is nothing else. And when that person leaves this body, then the relation is gone. So that relation is in the mind. And we become attached to that. Like if somewhere somebody gets into an illusion and there is there is a rope and he considers it to be snake. So there is actually no snake there. There is no existence of the snake. The existence is of the rope. But because you have experience of snake, you superimpose that snake on the rope because of darkness, or you are not able to see it properly. That's why you are thinking like this, but actually it is not there. And when you are in ignorance, you may become afraid. So similarly, it is being told here that actually the Atma and body have no relation. For some time, they are together. It's not that body is not there. Body is there. Body has existence. But the existence of Atma and body is not a reality. This is what we have to understand. And what is the Sat? It will always be there. So if you take it Atma, Atma is immutable. Atma will always be there. Although body is mutable, but even after getting destroyed, the five elements, they will always remain. So there are two types of Satta, two types of existence. One is immutable and one is mutable. And these two do not have any relation. That relation is simply an imagination. The Advaitavadis, they explain it in a little different way. They say that Asat does not have any bhav. Bhav here means janma, birth. And if there is no janma, there is no birth, then there is no death also. So that is why the Asat, the unreal, has no birth, no death. And Sat, it has no abhava. Here, abhava here means death. So if there is no death, there is no birth also. So they say that neither Asat has any birth or death, nor Sat has any birth or death. That means Sat is Sat only, it always exists, and Asat is that which is actually never there. They say that neither Sat has any birth death, nor Asat has any birth death. So what is Asat? Asat means like horns of a donkey. Donkey doesn't have any horns. So this is what they call as Asat, unreal. And Atma is Sat. And in between there is this world. And this world, the third thing, they call it Mithya. They call it false. So they have made three tattvas. One is this world, which is Mithya according to them. Other is the Jiva, and is the Ishwar. These three. And Jiv according to them is Ishwar only. But because of illusion, it is considering itself to be Jiva. And this is what they called Tattva. They say one who understands this is Tattvadarshi, seer of the truth. This is their explanation. So this is the difference in understanding between the Vaishnavacharyas and the Advaita Vedantis. Because Gita talks about two tattvas only. Gita does not talk of three tattvas. Gita is talking about two things only, Sat and Asat. There is no discussion about Mithya. But their explanation is of a different type. Because they say that Asat never exists only, then what is that? It's like a child of a barren woman. But barren woman has no child. So they say that this is Asat. Because it has no bhava. It is never born. And Atma always exists. So then the question is, what we see, what is that? Because what never exists, that cannot be seen. But we are seeing this world. The child of barren woman can never be seen. The horns of a donkey can never be seen. So then what we are seeing, then what is that? So they say that this is mithya, this is false. So this is how they explain. So they say that those who are Tattvadarshi, the seers of the truth, they understand it like this. And they are actually Pandit, the wise people, Dhir. They are the seers of truth, Tattvadarshi. These three words have been used. Earlier the word Pandit was used, then Dhira was used, and here Tattvadarshi word is used. So Pandit, Dhir and Tattvadarshi. So all these three words are used by Bhagavan for that person who has the sense of discrimination between Sat and Asat. Because Pandit word also has this definition, one who has the Panda, the intelligence, to discriminate between Sat and Asat. Such a person is called Pandit. For Dhira also he said same thing, one who is not disturbed. So if he is not getting disturbed, that means he has the Vivek, the discrimination between Sat and Asat. And here he is telling Tattvadarshi for the same person. And whatever kriyas, the actions they happen, these actions they happen in the body only. They do not, activities do not happen inside Atma. All the action, Gyan, the Icha, the desire, all this world that is operating, this happens inside the body. Atma is not connected with all this. So actually all these things are outside. All these desires, the knowledge that we obtain in this world, whatever activities we perform, they are all external to us. But we put false attachment in that, thinking these to be ours. And thinking these to be ours, we become attached to them. We should understand, the proper understanding is that these things are given to us for seva. This human body is given to us for seva. So we should utilize it accordingly. Like if you work in a company and you are given a computer, so you maintain the computer as if it is like yours only. But you also know that it is actually not yours. It belongs to the company. So in behavioral talk, we will say that it is our computer, but we do have that discrimination viveka in us that this actually belongs to company. So we also have to maintain this viveka discrimination in us that this body is there with me. It has been given actually by him. It belongs to him only actually. So here Bhagavan also speaks in Gita that this is my prakriti. But when we attach proprietorship on that, then we become subject to suffering the pleasure and pain from that. Those who understand this truth, they are always liberated. Then they never suffer in the bondage of karma. So this is the wisdom, the teachings that Bhagavan is imparting in this verse. And we should all deliberate on this knowledge, because we have to apply this teaching in our life. Then only there will be some benefit. Not that we just memorize, we learn and we teach it to others. We just do some pravachan lecture. Not understanding and simply lecturing, that is of no use. So we should hear, we should deliberate, and then we should apply it in our life. That is actually Gita in our life. So we'll stop here today, and if you have any question, you can ask.
प्रश्न है, राधे राधे महाराज जी, ऐसा
So the question is, we have heard that our entire life is predestined. If this is true, then in these different situations we should use our free will or not. That also must have been decided earlier only. So please explain. So if everything would have been predestined, then there was no need of giving this lecture only. If everything is pre-decided, then Bhagavan's instruction will become futile. So when Bhagavan will teach again and again to Arjun, it means that you can take it or you may not take it. If you tell somebody that bring a glass of water, that means the other person may bring or may not bring. If he does not have the capacity to bring only, then no intelligent person will tell that person to bring water. If somebody cannot walk, cannot bring water, will you tell that person go and bring water? Similarly, if we do not have the capability to exercise this purushartha, then Bhagavan would not have instructed us only. Then all the instructions would be futile, because then everything is pre-decided. Then what is purushartha? Then each and everything is prarabdha. Purushartha means that which a purusha can do. If he cannot do only, then what is the point?
प्रश्न है, महाराज जी, मनन करने का सही तरीका क्या है?
So next question is, what is the proper way of deliberating? Proper way of deliberating is whatever you heard, think about it again, hear it again, think about it again. Try to recollect what was taught, what is the meaning of this verse, study the verse, and think on its meaning, deliberate on it. Then think, how can I apply it in my life? Because the whole purpose is to apply it in our life. I am not teaching it with the purpose that you just understand it. The ultimate purpose is to apply it in our life. That is why we had given this title to this lecture series, that Gita and our life. So we have to understand that whatever situations we face in our life, in our office, in our home, or whatever, how do we remain stable in that situation? Not being disturbed by happiness also, not being disturbed by misery also.
दीपक जी पूछते हैं, बाबा जी आपने ऐसा समझाया है कि भक्त को जब कष्ट होता
Next
है,
question, you have explained that a devotee will
होता है,
feel
तो
pain if
वो
he or
अक्सर
she is sick but will not be disturbed
उससे
by it.
परेशान
Please
नहीं होना
explain this
चाहिए।
further as to
इस
how it
आप बता
works.
सकते हैं कि
Because
इस
in my
प्रकार से
experience, as
क्या
soon as
होता
there
है?
is pain, the
क्योंकि
mind
सुनने
becomes
में आता
disturbed.
है कि जैसे ही मन को कष्ट पहुंचता है, वह तुरंत ही विचलित हो जाता है।
तो इसमें देखना क्या है, इसके तो अभ्यास करना है आपको।
So the answer, what is there to see? We have to practice not being disturbed in these situations. What benefit do you derive by becoming disturbed? The pain that you are suffering will definitely be there. I am not negating that pain. But even in that situation of suffering, you should not become disturbed that you become deviated from your duty. What happens is that whatever situation we face and we have some duty to perform, then in that unfavorable situation, we give up our duty itself. If our body does not have capability to do activity because of disease, that is a different point. But if body can function like that, then we should tolerate the pain and continue performing our duty. And if something is beyond our ability to tolerate, then there is a different point. Then we have to do something to get rid of that situation. But we should continue performing our duty.
मनन और चिंतन में क्या अंतर है?
Next question, what is the difference between Manan and Chintan? So Manan and Chintan are same thing only. Say, trying to understand same thing by intelligence, that is Chintan. Chintan comes from Chit Dhatu. So Manan is to hold on to it by understanding.
नवदीप जी पूछते हैं कि सुख और दुख आत्मा के
Next
द्वारा
question, isn't the happiness and distress experienced by the Atma
अनुभव किया
through
जाता है,
mind,
क्योंकि ऐसा
or
देखा
is
है,
mind
ऐसा देखा
aloof
भी गया है
from
कि
happiness and
जो अनुभव से
distress?
परे है,
How do we
उसे
understand that
इस
because
प्रकार
a
से समझ
person
सकते हैं।
experiences different emotions, even when we say that Atma is aloof from desires, knowledge, etc. So as I said, all the experience that happens, it happens in the mind, not in the Atma. Bhagavan will also tell later in the 13th chapter that so he will be telling this, that this Raga, Dvesh, Sukha, Dukkha, all these happen in the body only. Or you can say in the mind, mind is also the part of the body only. So when he says Kshetra, it means Sharira.
वो अपना एक प्रश्न पूछते हैं कि यह
Next
जो
question,
संबंध है,
those who are establishing, who is establishing relationship with soul through body or just the body,
शरीर के साथ है,
like
जैसे
intimate
जब
friends,
किसी का
husband,
बच्चा
wife, duly married through
और
scriptural
शादी करते
injunctions,
हैं, तो
master, servant,
पति पत्नी बनते
knowing
हैं,
that our
क्या
relationship is just the mind
मास्टर और
assumption,
सर्वेंट का जो
then how do we
रिलेशनशिप होता
act
है, ये
without any
मन
relationship in the
जो
world?
इन्हें इस्टेब्लिश करता है, इस प्रकार से ये
जो पति पत्नी का है, ये तो आप ही करते हो अपने मन से।
So as far as a husband wife is concerned, you only do it through your mind. But as far as the body is concerned, that is due to the anadi avidya, we consider it to be ourselves. We have not purposefully done that. It is anadi. But all these external relations like husband, wife, and all that we do through our mind only, and we give it up also through our mind. But the relation with the body, that is happening through anadi, so you have to get jnana to get rid of that.
स्मिता मंजरी दासी जी, कृपया बोलिए।
क्या चाहिए?
प्रणाम बाबा जी, मेरा प्रश्न है कि सुख और आनंद में क्या भेद है?
तो आनंद जो है वो,
So the question, what is the difference between sukha and ananda? Answer: Ananda does not happen through body contact with indriyas.
जैसे आप कोई अच्छी चीज
Sukha happens through the indriyas. Like if you hear something nice, eat something nice.
परमात्मा से आता है,
And Ananda happens through Atma Paramatma. There is no sense contact
तो सुख
as a medium in that.
बुद्धि ग्राह्यम अतीन्द्रियम, इसको अतीन्द्रिय बोलते हैं.
So that is Atindriya, that is beyond the senses.
पर्यायवाची सब प्रयोग किए जाते हैं, लेकिन दर्शन
As such, we in behaviorally we use both as synonyms, but in the Darshan Shastras there is difference in Sukha and Ananda. Next question: when Bhagavan is telling that this world is an abode of misery,
वो नहीं कंटिन्यू कर रहे, आप कंटिन्यू कर
why is he continuing this? So answer: Bhagavan is not continuing, you are continuing it. It is in your hands. If you listen to him,
लेकिन
then it will be over.
भोग करना
But you want to do bhoga, to enjoy,
कीजिए.
to engage in sense enjoyment, then you keep continuing it. Next question: we get so many classes, how to make manan on all the information we get, how to put priority on what to do manan. It feels like the whole day is used in manan, but I need also time to digest and rest and not only do manan 24 hours.
केवल मनन मैं 24 घंटे मैं 24 घंटे मनन नहीं कैसे कर सकती हूँ, मतलब मैं रेस्ट चाहती हूँ.
24 घंटे के लिए किसने कहा है?
So who told you to do deliberation to do manan for 24 hours? Did I tell you to do manan for 24 hours?
जब आपको आराम करना है तो आराम कीजिए.
If when you want to rest, you take rest. It is up to you.
आराम करना चाहती हैं.
If or is it that you want to take rest 24 hours? That is also how?
प्रणाम बाबा जी. एक बात तो आपने कहा.
So next question, you told one thing that by putting hand on head, such blessing that will not work. You have to use your intelligence. So it seems very logical also.
महान लोग इस दुनिया में जिए हैं, तो तब भी रहा
Great people have
उनका blessing
lived in this
तब भी
world,
deliver हो चुके हैं.
and that time we were also
नहीं,
living.
मतलब कुछ तो ऐसी चीजें
And
उनके
if
पास
we would have
अनंत है.
received, we could have got delivered that time, because when they were living, we were also living, but we did not get delivered. So we understand the importance of intelligence, but at the same time, we also understand that hearing, the desire to hear, and the ability to understand, to do manan,
शक्ति और
and
वो सोचता है प्रोसेस, ये
the
कृपा के बिना
shakti, the
नहीं हो
thought
पाता. जब
process
हमको लगता है अरे
to
ये नहीं कर
follow
पाएंगे,
Guru's
तो हमारे
instructions,
ही
it seems
कृपा
that it is not possible without
हम
kripa,
नहीं कर पाते हैं,
because
भजन भजन क्रिया भी नहीं कर पाते प्रॉपरली. तो कैसे समझना है आप बुद्धि का उपयोग कितना है, कृपा का उपयोग कितना है,
how do we
और दोनों
understand
को
how much is
सम्मिलित कैसे
intelligence
करना
to
है.
be,
कुछ
what is the
बताइए
role of intelligence, what is the
अंडरस्टैंडिंग
role
रहे
of
किसी
kripa
बारे में भी.
नहीं तो आप
in our spiritual life.
कैसे करेंगे?
So
आपके
the
हाथ में तो कृपा है नहीं कि आप
how will
करेंगे
you
इसका.
do mixture of this? It is not in your hands, you will mix it. Bhagavan is telling,
जो योग्यता उन्होंने दी है आप
whatever capability he has given to you, you just use that.
के हाथ में आएगी.
His kripa is in his hands, that he will give, that is up to him. But if you do not do purushartha, if you do not utilize your own capability, what kripa you will get?
होता है नहीं कि आप बैठे हुए हैं, बस
When I said that simply by blessing with hand kripa does not happen, what I mean is that not that I just remain sitting idly and the sadhu keeps giving me kripa. It does not happen like that. If I do not do anything, what kripa should I expect?
कृपा छोड़ के आप पुरुषार्थ पर ध्यान दीजिए. गीता जो है
So you forget about kripa and you focus on your own purushartha. What is in your hands you can do.
बात यहाँ करते
Kripa is not in your hands. Here he is not talking about kripa and all that.
नारायण जी पूछते हैं, प्रणाम गुरु महाराज.
So next question,
भगवान के
is it correct that any activity performed in jurisdiction of internal energy of the Lord are sat activities? Everything is asat, else is asat. Is this what Bhagavan is trying to tell us from this shloka, that is we should turn to bhakti?
हाँ, जो भगवान की आंतरिक शक्ति में
Yes,
जो है, वो
so
सब सत है.
whatever activities are happening under Antaranga Shakti, that is all sat.
वो अपरिणामी नहीं है इस प्रकार से, जैसे यहाँ पर
that is not mutable. And in this world, whatever activities are happening, that is asat. So the difference is being shown. There is no bhakti prakaran, bhakti explanation here, because later he will himself tell Sankhya Yoga. There is no bhakti discussion happening here. So this is called Sankhya Yoga, means to do discrimination. The discrimination between Sat Asat, between matter and
क्या हम सबकी आत्माएं
Chit.
एक हैं या अलग-अलग हैं?
Next question,
पॉपुलेशन बढ़ रही है
is all our atmas same or different? If population is increasing, from where we are getting new atmas? Atmas are all different only. If all atmas would have been one, if one gets liberated, everyone gets liberated. If one is happy, everyone should be happy. All are different. Population is increasing does not mean that only human beings are becoming human beings. There are so many different species which have become extinct. Like we study all this, we hear in news that some species became extinct. So they must have got some body, some other body somewhere, because the atma does not become extinct. Some species mean becoming extinct means that type of body has now become extinct. So can you not see that there are so many humans getting born who are of beast nature?
राधे राधे महाराज जी, दो प्रश्न हैं एक
So
तरह से। जैसे आपने
I have two
सवाल
questions.
पूछा
First
कि
is like you
कैसे
explained according to Sri
सत
Vishwanath Chakravarti
असत
Thakur
जो
that
इनकी
body
समानता
is
है,
Sat, Atma is
इनकी
Sat,
असत
but
और
their
सत में
relation is Asat.
कैसे
So
जो
considering this Asat only
प्रकृति
as
की
Sat, this is
मूल लग रही है, तो
the root
क्या ये
of
सही है?
our
और दूसरा
misery.
प्रश्न
Is
भी
this correct?
दूसरा प्रश्न है
And the second question,
गुरु और शिष्य दोनों
Guru and disciple,
की
if
संबंध की
both
सत्ता कैसे समझे फिर?
are, we understand both as Sat, how do we understand their relation? First point is to discriminate between Sat and Asat. This is what Bhagavan is teaching. And what is Brahma, what is Moha, bewilderment? The Vastu which is not there, to understand it as Sat. So Sat as Asat, Asat as Asat, that is bewilderment, Moha. So in that, the Guru, now the next question, as far as the Guru and Shishya relation is concerned, that relation is established during Diksha.
राधे राधे महाराज जी। सो मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है कि
So next question,
आपको ये
my
ज्ञान भी होता है, आप जैसे
sometimes
मतलब
we have this knowledge,
जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स आते हैं उससे
whatever
विचलित नहीं
problems we face, we should not become bewildered by that.
आपको ये ज्ञान होता है,
Sometimes we do understand this
फिर भी
temporarily,
प्रॉब्लम की वजह से
but still,
ज्यादा उसमें
due
नहीं
to
रह सकते,
our
मतलब
problems,
theoretically
our
हम
mind is mostly is immersed in that. Theoretically we understand, but practically we feel ourselves unable to apply. So answer, the solution is that only having knowledge is not enough, only jnana is not enough, we should have vijnana, anubhav, experience. That is what I was telling earlier, that whatever verses of Gita we study, we should deliberate on that and then apply them in our lives. But what we do is we stop at jnana only. So as I said, that when we face any favorable situation, sukha, that time, then we do not use this discrimination, this vivek. But when dukkha, then misery comes, then we start bringing our gyan. But that time it is too late, because during sukha, favorable situation, we did not apply our jnana and we sowed the seed of suffering. Now later that suffering is bound to come. That is why this practice should not be done only during dukkha, it should be done during sukha also, because these both situations keep coming in our life. So until and unless we apply this knowledge, practice it in favorable situation, we are bound to become agitated in unfavorable situations. This is the problem.
To get free From this materialist concept of life, buddhi active is required. Yet we experience that buddhi falls into illusion regularly, and among the elements manas, buddhi, ahankara, citta, buddhi seems to be more passive in front of the identification of ahankara, as if it's not, it doesn't seem to be there to block ahankara. So we see that even if a person is intelligent, the ahankara is still raising his voice, and the battle between buddhi and ahankara is very unequal. So this is a problem. Is that
No,
so?
the problem is that you have not used it. If you start using it, then it will stop. We have not used our buddhi. We have become very laid back, so to say. So when you become laid back, when you don't use certain muscles in your body, those muscles become weak. But if you start practicing them, then they will become stronger. So we have not used our buddhi. We just go along with the mind and ahankara, whatever they are saying. So then buddhi sleeps, or we use buddhi for the wrong cause, to fulfill the wish of the mind. So you have to stop doing that. Then it will gain strength. So that means you have to be on awareness. तो हम अपनी बुद्धि का प्रयोग नहीं करते हैं, इसलिए बुद्धि कमजोर हो गई है हमारी, जैसे कोई भी.
So when we do not use our intelligence, it becomes weak.
तो कमजोर रहती है.
Like if we do not use any muscle, it becomes weak.
क्योंकि मन तो हमेशा काम करता है.
So like this, we just work with our mind in this world. Whatever experience we have, that happens through the mind, and we put raga dvesh in that, and then desire generates, and then we act accordingly. So in this process, if we do not bring the intelligence, when we have any experience, we should use our intelligence, and we should think that what I should do actually based on intelligence. Should I be attached to it? Should I not be attached to it? Should I act in a certain specific way or no? So we have never used it, and everything just works in an automated manner, like a computerized system.
प्रश्न है महाराज जी, क्या गीता जी का अध्ययन करने से पहले कोई दूसरा ग्रंथ पढ़ने की आवश्यकता है?
Question: before studying Gita, is it required to study any other book so that we understand Gita? Gita itself is the beginning level of book. You should study this only.
सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनंदनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्र गीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मंत्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयसात् निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूतिर् ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांघ्रये। भवे भवे यथा भक्तिः पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नाथस्त्वं नो यतः प्रभो। नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपाप प्रणाशनम् प्रणामो दुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परम्। हरि ओम तत्सत्।